So today we're going to talk about WeDeploy. And to talk about WeDeploy, I have to talk about Internet of Things. And this is a term that most of you already heard. And when we talk about Internet of Things, we have to discuss how much this is changing our lives and how much we can apply this to our business. Okay? From the way we drive to the way we make purchase, Internet of Things is everywhere. But what is this? How this applies to our lives? So imagine you have a car that you have a sophisticated devices that talks to somewhere in the cloud, talk to a platform. How this platform works, how as a business you can provide a platform that connects to those devices, how this works together, how this helps industries, how this can leverage like traffics to improve the government, health check on your devices, Fitbit, things like that, how these all connect together. Okay, so imagine you have these devices having to send information to a cloud platform. This cloud platform is what is called Internet of Things platform. And this could be a server, this could be your API on Liferay, this could be many choices. But what if you need to aggregate data? What do you need to scale? Let's give you an example. Let's say I'm driving my car and my check light engine goes on. So I have possibly a problem that I don't know what it is, but my car has sophisticated chips connected to the engine, connect to my wheel, my other parts of the car. And this is how Internet of Things will help your life in the future. This will diagnose your problem, send information to your event bus, and then it's gonna we use 3G, 4G network, or maybe your mobile phone through a Bluetooth connection or something, and send this to the platform. Okay, that's pretty nice, and my devices have to send this information. But now my company grew, I have 2 million users, I have to secure this data, I have to scale my server. So it's a lot of things going on. And then I need to store all this data from all my cars over and over again through the years. It's a lot of things to do, okay? And I cannot talk about Internet of Things without mentioning the concept of server virtualization. We are all used to go to Amazon, to Google Cloud Platform, and buy a server. And what is this when I buy a server? What's the difference between just put my code in one of those server virtualization providers or in WeDeploy? When you virtualize a server, you divide your server in multiple servers. So you divide your hardware in multiple applications. And how this works in general, it's based on virtualizing your OS into segments, and this helps you a lot. But when you deploy your software, you deploy to these isolated cells, but you need to set up your environment, set up your application software to make sure they communicate well, to secure your data, and many other things, okay? You have to hire people to take care about these servers. If they goes down, what to do, and things like that. In the end, it's still cheaper. It's faster than you buy a computer, set up your computer, and make sure it works. And it's more environment friendly because you are saving hardwares, just dividing one in multiple. But this is the past 10 years. We are looking now for the future, and in order to do this properly, we need to do a step more, which is go into the cloud computing theory. So what is cloud computing? Based on the National Institute of Standards and Technology from the US, they say that cloud computing is a model to enable convenient on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable devices. This is okay, but it's not very up to date because a lot of things need to be added to a good cloud platform to help developers to be more productive. What is this? To truly deploy a cloud, you need 3 characteristics. One is haptic elasticity. You need to be able to go and scale your service in a button. You need to compose your application. There is no application that lives alone in a virtualized server, isolated from the other services. You need to be able to compose and aggregate other things into your application in a meaningful and fast way for your developers, okay? So let's give an example. As an engineer, when I talk to someone about a car, I can say a car is an object, and I have different parts. I have the wheel, I have the engine, I have the lights, and this is composing many objects that compose another object, which is the car. So it's easier to say car. Okay, so if you need to buy a car, you don't go and buy different pieces, you just buy the car. When you aggregate something, it's similar. You have a way to say, okay, now I need multiple trees of eucalyptus, but you are not going to repeat this all the time, and then you can just say, I have a forest. It's the way to also aggregate information, and this can be applied also to computing, cloud computing, and it is not new. If you know how to program, and probably you have heard about this Gang of Four, very famous book, that they talk about object-oriented software, and in software, we are already doing this, composing and aggregating things to speed up our team. Why not do the same in the cloud? It also changes our philosophy to have to buy computers, to maintain computers, and to spend money in the hardware, which is called CapEx, to instead spending your money in operating expenditure. It's like hiring and renting something that is much easier. I just give a call, someone fixes it for me. I don't need to buy another hardware just to fix the problem. So all that is not provided by only going to a server virtualization platform, buy my server. I need more. And as a developer, I don't need to learn all these dev operation things. I don't need to make my team to know how to set up IPs, high availability, and all that stuff, okay? So that's why we created WeDeploy. So WeDeploy is an intention from Liferay to fix these problems and to help you as a client to speed up your development and to save money. You can go right now to WeDeploy.com, create your account, try now, and I'm gonna do a tour through the platform so then you can understand what it is. First, what is WeDeploy? WeDeploy is a cloud platform for developers. Because we created that because we believe developers should focus on what is important, which is building great applications. Let's imagine a scenario that I'm going to create a supermarket application, just something. I have been contacted by a startup that they need to build a supermarket. How long it's going to take to build this application? How many months? Okay, so first I need to know how many servers I will need to scale this application. I need to know how to set up databases, SQL, tables, what database is better, Postgres, MySQL, Oracle, I don't know. You have to secure the password, encrypt, which cryptography algorithm do you need, which one is safer. How I do OAuth authentication to modern devices like mobile phones and watch to connect. How do I make my server available? How do I scale my server? How do I send emails? How do I do HTTPS? So it's a lot of things to do. And in the end, you're going to spend 6 months just to be able to get to the point to code your first hello world in your website. So it's too much. Why are you spending 6 months repeating over and over again the same things? In WeDeploy, we want to change that. We want to make sure that we give you little pieces that you can compose, aggregate, and deploy your software faster. And what you did in 6 months, you can get to the same point in a day. So that's what we want, and then you focus in making a great application, a delightful app that your users love. So that's our intention, and how do we do that? By this built-in functionality. Okay, let's skip theory and go to practice, right? Let's create a project. You went to WeDeploy.com, you signed up, you have an account, well, you will see this. This is our dashboard. And then you can click and create your supermarket project. So I'm gonna click create project, type supermarket. Nobody got this ID, it's mine. So I create and I allocate a domain on the internet and I just give it to you a server on the cloud that you can deploy your stuff. But it's empty. If you take a look and access the website, I have nothing. I don't have any application, I don't have any service, I don't have any HTML, nothing, any API. How do I do to put things inside? I have to add services. To add the servers is the same. Let's start adding a database. There is no application without a database. So in a traditional development, I have to set up my database, but in WeDeploy it's different. You can use our NoSQL database if you want to speed up your things. So what should I do? I go there, click install service, and you'll see a catalog of pre-built services that's gonna grow, and then you pick data. Pick an ID, install service. In a few seconds, you are going to have connected to our application a database. And then you can start realizing your application is being composed like little pieces of Lego blocks that you, in the end, forms your application. Okay, now I want to access my database. Let's start from the web. It's the simplest client. You just go to our documentation page, copy this file, which is our API client, to help you invoke the RESTful APIs. If you say, I don't like to use your client, I want to use my HTTP client, fine, it's just HTTP, you can use curl, you can use any client from your preference. Then what you need to do is to point to your service URL. For now on, we don't have anything authenticated, so it's free, you can just access, and say, create product. I can pass my payload, I don't need to define structure, I don't need to define anything, and this data is going to be fully searchable in the end. After you call this, a callback can fire, and then you know the item was saved. So in a few seconds, I have a database in the cloud that can be scaled. I have an API client that I can save all the configuration and learning API client, because if you go to the docs, copy and paste the code, you can add, you can read, you can delete and update data. So okay, I know how to save data, I know how to read data. What's the next step? You need to inject some content in your page. Let's build a website. It's a small agency, they don't have a Java developer, they just know how to build HTML. Fine, build your client in pure HTML. When you are done, you can display your website. How do I do that? Again, go to the dashboard, pick static hosting, define a name for the service, public, site, web, any name. Then it's there. Now I have two pieces in my application. One is the data, the other is my hosting. Okay? So I need now to inject code into my host application. I'm going to show you how to do that soon. After that, you are going to see your website there, already available for you. But now your clients are signing up and you need to send emails. What to do now? Again, in WeDeploy, go to the dashboard, pick the email service, pick a name for the email service, install it, and after you install, instantly you can send an email. How? Again, use the API client or make a HTTP request, point to your email service, pick the from, to, the subject, the message, and then you post. You can learn all that through the documentation page, and the email will arrive in your inbox right away. No configuration, no setup. And now I want to make my application secure. Why? Because it's growing, I cannot have data that everyone can inject or read my information. So I need to do user authentication. But I need more because the client asked me, okay, I need Google and Facebook login integrated to the app. And how you do that? You have to set up your OAuth 2 server, make sure it scales, add all the providers they need. So it's a lot of work. It's at least 1 or 2 months of work to make sure it works well and scale in the cloud. But with WeDeploy, how do you do that? Again, go to the dashboard, install the auth, pick a name, and then the authentication service is there ready for you. And how do I use this? Okay, I give you many flows. One is you can store your users. You can post username and password, and I can save in a secure way, like Liferay does. Or I can allow you to log in through a third-party provider, so then I don't need to save your password. It's safer. Google do that. Facebook do that. We just go to make the handshake. And then how this works? First, signing up your user with password. It's as simple as calling an API like that from Java, from JavaScript, from iOS, saving email, password, and we already take care about the encryption and everything else. But what if you want a better flow? In dashboard right now, if you log into the WeDeploy right now, you'll see that you can log in through GitHub or Google, because we are using our services to create the dashboard. So this is a perfect example how you can do it from your application. I click in a button. I'm going to pick my name, in this case Zeno, and he logged in, just a click. So no configuration, you didn't need to set up any server, and here you have that. But how many lines of code I needed to be able to do this flow? That's all you need. You, again, point to your URL for the service, in this case auth.supermarket.redeploy.io. You pick the provider, in this case GitHub. You set, okay, I need email from the provider. And Facebook has many things, Google has many things, like I want your friend list. I want your, I don't know, like any information that is available on Google or Facebook auth layer. So you can just go to their documentation, select the scope, then you call sign in with redirect. Your browser will redirect, he will fulfill the data, and this will return with the token for you, and the authentication succeeded or failed. Okay? So in summary, what we just did, we created a project that has 4 services, data, hosting, and mail and auth, and you can see that they start being composed, okay, like little pieces. And your URLs are predictable because of that. You can create scripts to know all your site map if you want. But I don't like this because I'm not going to send to my client this full URL. It's ugly. In WeDeploy, you can also go there and create a custom domain. Okay, so let me show you something before showing the end supermarket application. This data layer is very nice because you can very quickly create applications like this. This is a clone of a very famous messaging app that in South America, maybe in Europe too, called WhatsApp. And how long did it take for us to create this clone of WhatsApp? Just a few hours, because we just plug the data layer, and when I go to my computer and I type something here like, hey, I send the message, it saves the message. Okay, fine. It's also a little line of code that I post and it appears there in real time. But since we wanted to make sure that every device connects in real time, what if I get my phone and I say, okay, I want to go to the same website in my phone, and I'm going to talk to this person. I send the message from my phone, and it appears instantly in the web. And I didn't do anything as a developer. I just connected the data layer. I pointed a few lines of code from this HTML file, and now I have devices that can share data in real time, that can broadcast information in real time with zero setup. Another example is, let's imagine that you want to build a Spotify company, right? What is Spotify? It's a very famous music application, like iTunes music and things like that. And we created a clone of Spotify. What they have, you have like a login form, you have a username and password, you can forget the password, you can sign up. But if I try to sign up, I already signed up before, so it's gonna send me an error because I already signed up. And if I log in, and it's only HTML pages, and I can here access my songs saved in this database. I can sort files, I can play these songs. There is no sound going on, but you can play the music, you can listen to the music, you can log out. And I did that without any backend, a serverless application that stores data, log in, play songs, and do everything very quickly. And business is changing. Like people don't want to spend months and months building applications. They want to be quick. Marketing agencies, this digital experience we are talking about in DXP and Liferay, how do we enhance you as a client and a partner to save money and to be able to create more digital experiences faster that goes beyond the portal? Okay, so you might be asking, okay, that sounds cool, you have a lot of examples, and you created this supermarket app, which is actually the same. Supermarket app, I have this login with Google, for example, that's the supermarket. You can go now and visit. I'm gonna log in with my personal email. After I log in, I have my products there. And I'm gonna show you how to use like capabilities from the search. Zero backend as well. I can filter my products. I can have images. I can access this API that access the JSON. I can add to my cart information. And you can see that in real time, I get those items here. I can delete an item. And I can go beyond. Let's say I want to make a search for similar products of this strawberry in a wood piece of table. Okay, let me see what this engine can give me. Okay, it found some similar products. What is this? I found some pattern that it's a picture taken from the app, something on the bottom, some kind of food with similar pattern. And then how do you do that? How do you have these similar products available? It's not actually hard. If you take a look in the code, that's what you need to make filter to similar products. You can just call the WeDeploy, point to your data layer, and say, okay, I want similar product for that product. with a few lines of code, and then you plot your products. So that's what we want to empower you as a client, to be fast in development of modern applications. Let's understand a little more what is a WeDeploy project, okay? When you create a project of WeDeploy, talking now about the infrastructure, when you have the data, for example, data can be scaled now because you have million users. How that works, you just click a button and you make, instead of one data, 3 datas. And we make sure they are synchronized. You don't need to set up cluster data sharing and all that stuff. And they have the same name for the domain. So if the users are visiting the data, they don't need to change this name. We already load balance and distribute your traffic between the different instances. This could be data, but this could be Liferay, this could be a Node.js API, a Java API, any service. But let's say now your service crashed. You have 2 services that crashed. What happens? The users get redirected to the available node. Meanwhile, we recover the 2 nodes that failed, and we return your traffic back to them. So your users never get offline. The same happens when you deploy a new version. When you deploy a new version, your users continue using the previous version until it's ready, then it goes to the new version. It could be Java, Node.js, any technology. WeDeploy doesn't care about which technology you are using. It's just infrastructure things on this level. Okay, now I know the infrastructure, I know how you create the demos, but how I deploy my app, how I inject my code into WeDeploy. You have a few options. One option is push to GitHub, because you have a source control in the middle. After you push to GitHub, we detect something was pushed to Git or GitHub, because we give you a Git URL for each project. We test your code, we build your code, and we pack everything. And those are configurable hooks. It could be a Gradle application, it could be anything that you know how to build, the commands you can set up, very easy, is a JSON file. After you are done, we deploy your application, and this is going to be online. Okay, let me show you this in a better way. This is an example of the supermarket application. I called my developer and say, hey, I need a change now in the supermarket app. I need to change the title. What he needs to do? That. He goes to the activity to see what's going on, because I can know what people pushed and everything. I can do my change in my code. So I add my change to GitHub. If you are used to GitHub, it's basically doing some changes. It's a very pretty normal flow for developers. Then you push to our Git server. We deploy master. Every project has a Git server embedded. When you are done, look at the activity in real time. It build started. The build was successful. The deploy started, deploy was successful. So in few milliseconds or a few seconds, I push my code, I build my code, I test my code, and I deploy it. And after this deploy happens, my code is online. You're set. You can just go to supermarket.wedeploy.io and play with this that you just saw. But you might be asking, okay, how this relates to my business? How this helps Liferay? I don't understand. That's a very fair question, and it's actually a very big help for you as a client to Liferay. Why? Let's give an example. Let's say first, I want to create a quick Liferay instance for my events team to do a website. I just go to the dashboard, create project called events. I pick the Liferay service. We have a Liferay community edition for now. Then you can pick a name for Liferay, and you can pick the version of Liferay. In this case, it's the latest community edition. And then you click the button. In a few seconds as well, you can see that a Liferay is being boot up here, and it's going to be available for you. And now I want to do a second step. Remember the WhatsApp app? That is the chat in real time that I send messages, and this store the message and broadcast to everyone. Let's say I want to create a portlet, not even a portlet, a document, a web content that receives the message from my chat. What should I do? Okay, just make sure I have the Liferay installed. I have my public, my data, and Liferay. Liferay is there. I click here, Liferay is running. And I log in. And remember that few lines of code that you listen or save data? I just copied it and pasted it into the editor for the web content. And when you paste it, it's going to print whatever messages I already received in real time into my portal. And it also shares the same authentication layer and everything when it's ready for the auth 2 in Liferay 7. So you can type, hello, hi, and what happens? Liferay receives this message in real time. So you just have WebSockets with Socket.io protocol inside your portal with zero configuration, with zero code change. Isn't that great? This is amazing. You save a lot of time with this. And that's pretty much it, because our message with this talk and with this product is to show that we want to change with the DXP and with these new products we are working on, the mobile, the Liferay screens, the WeDeploy, all together will help you to reach this digital transformation. We want you to spend time what is important, which is building applications, not do infrastructure and things that doesn't make sense. Thank you very much.
Grazie mille Eduardo.
Do we have time to questions?
Se ci sono domande possiamo spendere qualche minuto. Il pranzo è già pronto qui a fianco e la sessione successiva ripartirà alle 2:20. Ci sono domande per caso? Ok. Ok, abbiamo una domanda, perfetto.
A quick question. What's the difference about Google Firebase?
Yeah, that's very good. So Firebase, a few years ago, they only had data, and they didn't have other services besides data. Now they are growing their ecosystem to messaging and other things, but they don't allow you to push your own service. The difference here in WeDeploy is that we have our predefined service like Firebase has, but you can create as a customer your Java, Spring Boot, Liferay, OSGI, lightweight Liferay that is being worked on by the engineering team now, and you can deploy anything like a Node.js application. I have other examples that I'm going to show in DevCon that you can deploy a Node.js API and a Java API, and they can share the same authentication API, and they work together as an application, and you can do whatever you want. So you can go beyond just the predefined services, and you can create your own. So Firebase doesn't provide you that. Anything else?
Altre domande?
Thank you. What about security and where the data are maintained and stored?
Yeah, so we currently have one free data center that you can go there now, create up to 2 projects and 5 services. And this is hosted in our Liferay data center in LA, in the USA. And the free accounts we are going to store there. We are going to have a secondary data center that is paid, and it's going to be possibly in Amazon or in some other cloud, provided that is regional, for example, in Italy, in Germany, in Brazil, everywhere. But for now, it's all in LA for this alpha version. Okay.
Can I connect WeDeploy with my own data sources?
You can.
Through VPN or other channels?
Yeah, I can understand your question better later, but technically you can. Okay?
Thank you.
You can talk to me after. Thank you.
Altre domande per Eduardo? Ci siamo?
You plan to provide this service only for the customers that then have your cloud services, or I can buy in the future my cloud services on Amazon, on Google, and so on, and you provide this service only also to deploy Liferay on
your own data center,
the cloud service that I both separately.
Yeah, so currently we have an internal WeDeploy version, for example, that Liferay uses to the developers to speed up the development. So for instance, one developer in Brazil wants 2 Liferay instances. They can use this on-premise version of WeDeploy to launch 2 Liferay instances. At some point, we want to make WeDeploy available for you as a partner or client on-premise as well. Until we reach production, version, we are not going to sell on-premise, just for trial. If you want to try as a partner, you can. But our plan is for early next year to be able to start talking about on-premise. But our intention is, yes, to be able to deploy to your own data center.